we stood in the heart of northern Sweden, enjoying the warm autumn sun, feeling both the excitement and the weight of the unknown. We were just visitors then, just imagining life in these wild, beautiful landscapes. It was the very beginning of our life-changing journey. 1 year ago, we didn't know how things would work out.
Ich würde gerne bei Ihnen einen Container bestellen.
It's done. We sold Mappe.
I'm just so done right now.
How much work it will be to make our dream come true. We just met Toby and Christina, hoping they would stick to their word and welcome us to their home when we are ready to come. And then, all of a sudden, we closed the door to our old apartment forever and kept on driving north. But it wasn't easy. Every step was laced with uncertainty, hard work and challenges that pushed us to our limits.
Yeah, we are both done.
Yet, with every hurdle, there was a moment of clarity, a reminder of why we made this leap. This is the story of a year that changed everything. The year we took the biggest risk of our lives and found a place that became so much more than just a home. This is a reflection of the year we finally moved from Berlin to the north of Sweden, the land of our dreams. The sorrow we felt in our hearts was heavy when we packed our bags into our car to drive back to Germany after our holiday in the north of Sweden was over. But deep inside, we already knew that this was the last time we would have to leave Sweden. The dream was clear since 5 years. We want to live in a Nordic country with real winters and a real chance to own a house one day. Now, after being in Sweden 3 times and having traveled most of the country, we made our final decision to move to the Jämtland area, which is already considered north. So after coming home, we started packing. Why did we start now? Well, after meeting Toby and Christina during our holiday in Sweden and being invited by them to live in their house until we found our own home, solved our biggest issue we had until that point. We could not save enough money to buy our own place right away, and we didn't want to move to a new country without having any guarantee for jobs and renting a place for a lot of money. So now we suddenly had this home, this place to stay in Sweden. It was our golden ticket to finally say yes. All we had to do now was to tear apart our old life in Germany. And that was sometimes more and sometimes much less easy. Looking back, I of course would do things differently, but I also know I did my best, and giving the things I knew back then, good decisions were made. Our plan was to leave most of our physical belongings behind. Taking care of this stuff was also the only thing I could do from November on. So I packed and sorted and sold and packed again, and then drove the boxes south. The master plan we had included my parents' home, which was about 300 kilometers away from our flat in Berlin. All the boxes I packed were stored in their basement, so our flat became more and more empty by the time, while their basement got fuller. But no planning in this world can prevent life, or in our case, death, from happening. Our small French bulldog, Grimnir, who we rescued from Slovakia in December 2019, died from a massive heart disease in December 2023. We knew back then that his time was limited and he wouldn't come with us to Sweden. But this emptiness that he left behind, well, let's say the packing became easier because we now really didn't want to be in this apartment anymore.
We had to let go of our beloved little patati, Grimnir. This is the worst ending for a year that someone could ever imagine, and I record this to remind every pet owner out there that it is completely fine and completely okay if you grieve and cry as much about the loss of a beloved pet as somebody else cries about the loss of a beloved human.
And after more than 2 weeks of intense grief, we finally found the energy again to continue with the really intense stuff that needed to be done. It got necessary to take care of stuff like selling our little car, which was my very first car.
We sold Möppel. Möppel is gone.
And ordering a big container for our renovation time in the flat, so we could throw away everything we couldn't sell, take with us, or give away until that point.
Ich würde gerne bei Ihnen einen Container bestellen.
Okay, was brauchen Sie denn für einen Container?
Ein 7,5 Kubik.
Of course, we also had to cancel our rental contract, working contracts and insurances and everything.
Mietvertrag.
It was a lot of work and it had to be done in a certain order to a certain time to allow us to have a good flow of leaving the country. And it was scary, because we reached a point of no return. The journey got more scary as it also became more exciting. Doing something like this is emotionally challenging on a level I have never experienced before. How would I?
So basically in this room I fulfilled one part of my life dream goal. I became a self-employed videographer and I worked here most of my career. And now it's time to say goodbye.
How would I know how to handle all these goodbyes and this anxiety from calling so many companies and authorities? How can someone prepare you for this?
This right now is a very painful state of being in the process of moving to another country. I'm just so done right now.
Nobody could ever prepare you in any way, and all I did was going with the flow, listening to my intuition, and this was the most important, taking a break from time to simply enjoy what I still had left. And by doing so, I was actually able to enjoy the suburbs of Berlin for these last few months. But still, time was running without mercy. From April on, it was a massive amount of work, organization, and hard goodbyes. One of the hardest goodbye after Grimly's death was leaving my women's cycle, because these women were the ones that gave me the strength, the belief in myself to even make this step, to make my dreams come true. So of course, every goodbye hurts, but leaving the safe haven was something else. And then again, I had to get out of my heart and into my mind because we really had a tough time ahead of us in these last few days in Berlin. I was tired, I was anxious, but I knew I was on the right path. And then our helpers and the container arrived and it was time to renovate the flat. In Germany, it was the rule that you, as the person who leaves, has to leave the flat behind in a practically new, renovated state, basically as if you have never lived there. So we had to paint all the white walls white, almost all the doors, take out the complete kitchen and clean every single corner of that apartment. It was extremely hard work, and I don't know how we would have made this happen without our helpers. They saved our lives. During these 5 days, I almost didn't sleep, didn't eat well, worked very hard, and simply pushed away any doubts, emotions, or weaknesses. We had to get this done. Sometimes we found ourselves in pure madness and chaos, and sometimes we simply tried to have fun. For the last night, we had to sleep in a hotel across the street because the next day would be the day we will give back the flat.
I am so tired.
The day we would officially move out. So all of a sudden, I remember getting in the car after we signed the final document to give away the apartment, and I closed the car's door and bursted into tears of grief, happiness, relief, anticipation, pure exhaustion, and fear. It was time to go, so we drove to my parents' home, our last stopover before we set off on our long journey northwards. There were now these 2 weeks of waiting, of saying goodbyes, and of feeling so much and at the same time nothing at all. To be honest, I don't remember much about this time today because it was simply too much to feel and to experience. But I remember meeting all these wonderful humans and saying all these bittersweet goodbyes. These moments of silence. And these moments of the final packing when all my feelings went numb and my brain went into survival mode again. And suddenly the time had come and the moving van was at the front door. It was the last day in Germany. So the transporter is packed now, almost completely. There's only just a few things that are here that are left to do. And it's unbelievable because in 24 hours we will be arriving in Malmö. We already will be in Sweden, and slowly but surely we are both starting to realize that, and we had a very hard last goodbye just an hour ago. Lisa was here and this was pretty hard. Yeah. So yeah, this was my last day in Germany. It's dark. It's 3 a.m. on Thursday morning and everyone in this little village close to Dresden was still asleep. But for us, this marked the beginning of our 2,000-kilometer one-way trip to the north. We are almost at our second stay where we stay for the night in Orsha. I'm having a massive headache today, but I can't sleep. I have to drive, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling so much at home. I'm feeling calm and welcome. After 3 days of traveling, driving and emotional numbness, it was hard for me to believe that we are actually here, in Sweden, in the north, at Toby's and Christina's place, that everything had worked out the way we had planned it. And one might think that it was all super romantic and now I had an emotional relief and felt like home and the birds were singing to my soul. But the truth was far from that. Yes, I felt like I was in the right place and I really enjoyed our surroundings very much, as I could go swimming in the lake, having beautiful walks in the nature and enjoying the calmness that was surrounding me. But the reality of moving to another country is bureaucracy. I have arrived in Strömsund and I am going to the Skatteverket just nu. Oh, I'm excited. I'm shaking a little bit and I really hope everything goes well now. As an EU citizen, immigrating to another EU country is pretty easy, but there are still some rules one must follow. For example, if you want to have the personnummer, which is basically your ticket into the normal Swedish society, you either need to prove that you have around 15,000 euros at hand to take care of yourself and not fall into the Swedish social system, or you have a working contract, or you are married to a Swedish citizen. We had collected the needed money over the past years, but still we had no guarantee to be accepted by the authorities. And without going into too much details now, I knew that the Personnummer was just the tip of the iceberg. Afterwards, we needed a bank account, a Swedish phone number to use Swish, a bank ID, insurances, and of course also a new car, as our old one could barely handle the German winters. But my goal was to take it all step by step, one task at a time.
Yes, I have now my Person number, and now I am going to make an appointment in Östersund to apply for my ID card. And once I have this, I can get into the social security system here, and then I can open a bank account, and then then I will be able to do everything a normal Swede can do in Sweden. And oh my god, I have my Person number.
And while our bureaucracy journey was unfolding step by step, we got to meet so many wonderful people. Right after moving here in the beginning of June, I got to meet Daniel, a fellow YouTuber, and it felt so good to be welcomed so warm-heartedly in his home country. Then, of course, I met with Betty from time to time, the wonderful woman who helped us move here by driving the moving van back to Germany together with my friend Trudy. And then we found this gem, this light, this husky farm, of which we couldn't know at this point how much this connection would change our life in the north.
Inside us is the cure and the remedy. Love is the cure and the remedy. And it's so far away. So long, and it's so far away.
Now we slowly started to build a routine, a social life, and we started to arrive in our new life. Part of the process was, of course, to bring our very own personality into the flat we had moved into. The biggest project we put our hands on in summer was to renovate the kitchen.
We will repaint the furniture, we will build furniture which really fits into the kitchen, and this is a huge project for June, hopefully just June and not July. So yeah, let's go!
And by the way, if anyone would have told me 1 year ago that I would paint my way into the north, I would have guessed they've gone crazy. But well, what I did most of the time was painting. And so day by day our apartment became our home as my new altar moved in. Our new bed arrived and the kitchen took shape step by step, even though it of course took much longer than expected. And while my husband started working again in the computer science industry, I got the chance to simply enjoy life at its fullest in this vast, vivid nature. Whenever people ask me what's the difference between the nature in Germany and in Sweden, the best way for me to explain what I feel was that the vibrational energy of Germany is so intense and on such a stressful frequency, as everything is domesticated since such a long time, while the north of Sweden is still humming. in its very own ancient frequency. Calm, deep, vast. This is where I feel silence growing deep into my soul. This is where I feel like I can breathe freely. This is where I want to melt into the trees, becoming one with this pure land covered in forests and endless lakes. Can there be anything better than sharing this love for nature and magic with someone who is like-minded? Not only did my wonderful soul sister Egle visit me in August, but my connection to Katarina grew so strongly during these few months that I can now honestly say I have found a witch sister in her. How beautiful can life be? And I think now it is the time to tell you a little secret, if you have watched this far.
Wow.
You can believe me when I tell you I cried at least 100 times in these 6 months since we moved here. I had panic attacks, I had sleepless nights, I was sick. I was extremely stressed out by authorities, paperwork, and when the magical forest on our property was taken down. Not to mention all the negative emotions that needed to be processed because of the move itself.
But what I also pushed away by doing that was to grieve for the life that I lost by moving here.
And I chose not to focus my energy on that. My life might seem to you, after watching this, like a fairy tale since I moved to the north. And I would assure you it is, because I choose it is one. Now, if you are open to any advice I might have for you, if you feel inspired, or maybe wonder, how can I create a dream life? How can I make my dreams come true? Refocus on what's possible, not on what could go wrong. Focus on your wishes, your true desires. Find out who you truly are. Find out who you want to become. Start acting like them. Yes, I was lucky. Yes, I feel blessed and I express my gratitude to the people around me and the universe every single day. And I worked my ass off to be where I am today. To live a fairy tale. And I am not finished. This is just the beginning. Thank you to everyone who believed in us, to everyone who supported us, and thank you, my wonderful little YouTube family, for being part of this journey. May there be 1,000 more adventures to come and stories to share.